whenever you go for a big projects, okay, or bigger companies, or whenever you go for dam sites, etc., they, before entering into that, you will be having the same exact model of that, which is a model of the existing real world thing, object. If you go for an dam site, okay, before entering into that, you will be having in one place, you will be having a model of that, okay. What is the entrance, where is the where you can go, and how many gates are there, where are those things, what is the front view, this thing, all the things will be, they have created a model for it. It is the same real world object. Abstraction, it is a small represent, it is a representation, okay. It is not in detail, in detail it will not be there, okay. Main things what are there, okay, it will be having of that real world object or an event. What it, if you go to big hospitals entrance, there is a model, okay, which shows you where is the casualty, where is where are operation theaters, where are OPDs, okay, and which numbers, etc., all the things will be there, okay. What is the passage, all the things will be there. So that is called as a model, that is called as a model. Got it? Abstraction, by hiding the details of data storage and are not needed by most of the database users. In this data models, a model is abstraction of the real world object. It is an abstraction of the real world object. If you are creating a model, data model for any of the things, student, okay, it will give you what are the information you are storing, but it will not give you what you have stored. It will not give you the information, it will not give you the actual data, okay, but it will give you the details, abstract details, okay. Student name is there, student this thing is there, like what is that, roll number is there, register number is there, percentage is there, like that. But it will not give you what is the constraint on the name, what is the constraint on the university seat number, what is the constraint on the percentage, okay. So what is the constraint, what could be the percentage, constraint on the percentage? So percentage cannot be more than 100%. Got it? Always students can maximum of 100%, more than that he cannot, right? It is a constraint which is on the marks or a result column. Got it? Such kind of things are hidden, okay. So it provides some level of data abstraction by hiding the details of the data storage, okay, where it is stored, okay, how it is stored, and all those things it will not be there. Only it can give you the abstract level. Got it? Now, a data model, it is a collection of concepts. It's a collection of concepts that can be used to describe the structure of the database. What is data model? A simple representation of complex real world data structures. Complex real world data structures useful for supporting specific problem domain. See here now, data models are nothing but simple representation of the complex real world data structures. See here now, if you take a database of the college or an university, it is not so simple. If you take a database of the university, there are the data structures called colleges, where all the 200 colleges or 400 colleges information will be there. data structure of the student, all 400 colleges or 200, what are the number of colleges, all the college students information will be there, and each college will be having the number of courses they are running, all that information is also there in that, and different semesters they are studying and different subjects they are studying in each semester. Got it? So by hearing it looks very simple, but when you go inside into that, it is so complex. So if you take only of MCA course, how many colleges are offering MCA courses, and each college will be running MCA. In from your batch, it is only 2 years. Before that, 2 years for a 30% quota, and others for 3 years. So here now, there are 3 things now, and they are running in final year, second year, first year, for 2 years also, first year and second year, and each of them are, each semester will be having the different subjects. Each semester will be having different subject. See the complications, complexity of this only one course I am talking. If you take all the branches of engineering, how much complications it will come. Once you have all these things, apart from, there are a faculty information which can be stored in the university database, student, courses, branches, colleges, and also result. Result is also one of the database. See here now, all these things are what? A databases, structures. This complicated thing can be stored. These are all real world thing. Employee is also real world thing, college is also real world thing, and student is also real world thing, branches are also real world thing. All these things, these real world data structures are stored in such a way that, are represented in such a way that, okay, it is to make it very simple representation. What is data model? A simple representation of complex real world data structures. Which are different data structures? College, courses, branches, student, employee, okay, all these things. These are the data structures. These complex real world data structures are represented in a simple manner. Okay, that is called as data model. That is called as data model. Hope you understood. A simple representation of complex real world data structure, which is useful for supporting scientific problem domain. Got it? And what is data modeling? You know what is data model? Data model is the complex real world data structures are represented in simple manner, or a simple representation of complex real world data structures. To do this, it is having some process. It is having some process. Okay, for creating specific data model for a determined problem domain. For a determined problem domain means, if you take a student domain, okay, for that student domain or a university domain, okay, all the datas which we need to create a simple model, that process is called as data modeling. Okay, this data modeling, it is a iterative process. Why it is an iterative process? See here now. First time we will going to create some student data structure. Okay, student table we are creating. In that student table we will be having the university seat number, name and course, branch, etc. But we don't have a date of birth. Got it? Later, in the later stage, again I will going to modify the same student data structure and I will going to include date of birth. Okay, and after some time I'll going to modify some of the data structures, university seat number or roll number, whatever. See here now, this is again and again iteratively we are doing something on it, on the same data structure, on the same data model. Okay, hence it is called as a iterative. Hence it is called as a iterative. It is not one time. It is not one time. Once we create the data model, then no. It has to be done first time and later in the later stages. Okay, we need to have this thing. What is that? Keep on doing some changes in that. Okay, example I will tell you. If you take a car, once they produce the car, once it comes into market, their job is not yet done. They will be called for iteratively once in a year or twice in a year after 10,000 kilometers. They will call for the services. Their job is still it is there. Okay, they'll do the service and they will give you suggest these things, this can be replaced and that can be replaced. Okay, this can be changed. So this is an iterative process. Got it? Once it is delivered, their job is not completed. Once the data model is created, that it's not completed. In the later stage, if you want to modify, you can go for it. Hence, it is called as a iterative and progressive. It is a progressive. What is progressive? See here now. So, in today, what I got, I am restricted to only this much. In my later stage, if my college grows, the number of branches, I have taken some more branches of engineering, so I am able to include it. If the number of student increased, okay, I am able to modify again. Got it? All these things can be taken care. All these things can be taken care. Got it? Hence, this data modeling is a iterative and a progressive. It is a iterative and a progressive. It is a iterative and a progressive process. Just a minute. It is a iterative and a progressive process. It is a process. Got it? Keep on, we are in touch with that. Okay, process of creating a specific data model for a determined problem domain. Like problem domain is university database, a specific data model is a student database, college database, okay, and this course database, result database. Got it? Result data model, student data model, etc. All these things are the data models, specific data models for determining a problem domain. Got it? Hope you understood. Hope you understood the model. What is meant by model? What is data models? Okay, and what is data modeling? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? All of you?
No, sir.
Oh,
No,
fine.
sir.
No, sir.
Good. Okay. Now, By structure of the database, we mean that types, relationship, and constraints that hold on the data. Structure of the database means the structure of the database means, as I told it on that day, it is like looks like a schema. Okay, it looks like a schema. What is that schema? Schema will give you structure of the database. Okay, assume that this is the student database. Assume that it is a student database. Now, it is a student database. It is having a university seat number, university seat number, and the name, and date of birth, and course, and phone. Course and phone. See here now, structure of the student, it is nothing but a model now. Okay, here in this we are having university seat number as an attribute, name as an attribute, date of birth as an attribute, course as an attribute, and phone number as an attribute. Okay, if you take example for this USN number is 2AG MCA something 01 or 03 something. Got it? In that case, it is a set of characteristics. It is a set of characteristics. Okay, characters, set of characters. It can be numbers or it can be alphabets. It is a combination of alphabets and numbers, digits. Hence, this is called as varchar. What is the data type? Data type is varchar. What is the data type of USN number? Varchar. Just a minute, let me take. The university seat number is varchar. Varchar. Even name is also a varchar. What about date? Date of birth. It is of type date. Date is also one of the data type in SQL. It is data type is date. And course is also varchar. Course is also varchar. And phone number is integer. Okay, it is an integer or number type. See here now. What is the data type of the USN number? It is varchar. Name is also, the data type of the name is also varchar. Data type of the date of birth is a date. Course is also varchar. And phone number is of type integer. Got it? And what is the size of the university seat number? Means every student who are studying in the university in one or the other courses, okay, he or she must have a university seat number. Without university seat number, none of the students will be allowed. Okay, each and every student must have university seat number. Means how that university seat number will be, each, if there are 10,000 students in the university who are studying in any of the course, they must have unique university seat number. They must have unique university seat number. Each and every student must have a university seat number. Those university seat number must be unique. Those university seat number must be unique. So hence it is called as primary key constraint. So what are the constraint on this? Let me write with a different color. Okay, shall I take this or green? Okay. So it is university seat number is not null. Not null. University seat number must be not null and it is unique. It must be unique. That is it must be unique. It must be unique. See here now. Every student must have university seat number. It means that it is not null constraint. And every student must have a unique university seat number. All of them are having a different university seat numbers. No two students will be having the same university seat number. Hence, it is another constraint is unique constraint. So, if it is a not null and if it is not null and unique, that is called as a primary key constraint. If you take name, if you take a name is unique, not null. Every students will be having the name, but every student may not be having the last name, but every student will be having the first name. Got it? So there may be a chance of more than one students may have the same name. There may be n number of Akash. There may be any number of Kirans in the same college also. Got it? There may be n number of other names. So, but every student will be having the name, but name may not be unique. Okay, it is not necessary to have a unique name. It is not necessary to have the unique name. Got it? Yes. Nobody will going to tell that Akash, already one Akash has taken the admission, no admission for the second Akash. No, nobody will going to tell that. Right? So, there may be more than one students can have a same name. So, this will be having only not null constraint. Which one? Name. What about date of birth? Every student will be having a date of birth, right? You can specify or you can leave it. Okay, it is left to you. Okay, means it can be null or that field can be, you can keep it blank. You can keep it blank. Okay, if you don't want to mention your date of birth, then you can leave it. What about course? Each student must have affiliated to or enrolled for a course. Must have enrolled for the particular course. Then, so it is also not null. It is also not null. Course must be there. You have to enroll your name in any of the course. Any of the course. Then, what about phone number? It is of type integer. Then, constraint is no phone number should not exceed a 10 digit. No phone number should not exceed the phone digits in the number should not be more than 10 digit or less than 10 digit. Got it? This constraint I will going to put it. Or it can be null, but if you want to enter any phone number, this must be either 10 digit but not less than or more than 10 digit. See, this is called as the structure of the student database, student table. Only this information will be presented. Nothing more than that is entered into that. It is a model. Got it? Creating of such models iteratively, or if you want, why it is called as iterative? If I want to add some more field into that, okay, I want to add address of the student, so again one more field I want to enter into this. Again, it is an iterative and progressive. It is a progressive. So whenever I need more information, I keep on adding those things. This process is called as data modeling. It is a simple representation of a complex real world. See, each student will be having enrolled for any of the course, and each student will be having studying n number of subjects. Got it? So he has taken these many books, that many books, or he is doing that project, this project, etc., etc. So it is not so simple. Got it? This is called as a data model and data modeling. It is a process. Now, what are the importance of data models? The importance of data models are, these are the communication tools. Assume that I am running a college where I want to have a separate software where I can store all my student information, which are all the branches are there, all the things related to that. I'll going to approach you people, you are the software engineers, okay, and I'll tell all my problems to you people. I keep on explaining all the things, what is the required thing for me, okay, what I want to do, okay, what I am running, okay, all the things. But see here now, once he understood all the things, he will give you the proper model. Example, student model, and he will tell that you can store university seat number, name, date of birth, course, phone number, etc. And by seeing at these things, I will tell I need an address, I need a result column also, so that by looking at this, I will tell include these things, remove that thing. So it will become the communication tool for the software engineers as well as the clients. These models are the communication tools. Got it? And these models, data models, give an overall view of the database. Once you have a complete, this is the student table, how it is connected to course table, how this course table is connected to this thing, and how it is connected to projects, how it is connected to employee, all these things. See here now, By looking at this complete view of the database, okay, so you can understand, this is how you can connect it. This is what it is connected to this table. Okay, once we are start discussing related to schemas, okay, there you can understand better. There you can understand better. Got it? Now, organize data for a various users. See here now. These data models will organize the data. How this will organize the data? So from the entire database, you will get a complete student data will be stored in the student table and college data will be stored in the college table. Okay. Then course related information will be stored in the course table. Employee details will be there in the employee table. For various users, the user which he wants information related to college, then he can go to particular table and access the information. The student or the user who wants information related to student, he can go to student table and he can access the information. The person who needs the information of how many employees are there, so he will go to employee table and get the information. So in that way, the organization of the data takes place in data models. So data models organizes the data for various users. These data models are an abstraction for creation of good databases. Okay, see, if you go for any construction of building, houses or office, college, etc., okay, you must have data model. Means you will be having a blueprint. Okay, you will be having the blueprint of your home. Then only you will come to know that where the kitchen is, where is the entrance, where is the hall, where are the bedrooms, where are the sit out, okay, where is the staircase, all the where are the windows, etc., etc. You will be getting the information. Got it? It is an abstraction for creation of good database. Without this blueprint, if you construct a house, then later you will be having so many problems. You will be telling that actually we need a windows this side, we need a entrance this side. Okay, this is where actually we wanted our kitchen. This is where we need a dining hall. Got it? So later it is not possible. It can be possible, but lot of disturbances will take place. Got it? In the same way, if you want to create a good database, you must have such data models as an abstraction. You must have a data models as an abstraction for creating a good databases. For creating good databases. Then, these data models are the basic building blocks of databases, good databases. Which are the data building blocks? Which are the building blocks for the data models? Entity, attribute, relationship and constraint. See here now. Entity, attribute, relationship and constraint. If you go to this, see here now. Here in this, here student is an entity. Here it is a student is an entity. Okay, student is an entity. How the entities are represented, how you need to write entity names, okay, attribute names, all these things, relationship, how you need to represent the relationship, etc. Got it? That we want to study it in the later when we are studying EL diagrams. Got it? So here student is an entity, university seat number, name, then date of birth, then course, then phone number. All these things are the attributes of a student. These are name, university seat number, date of birth, course, phone number. All these things are the attributes of a student. Student is a entity, university seat number, name, date of birth, course, phone number, address. What are all the things are there? They are called as attributes of a student. Then these constraints must be not null, unique, it is of type date. Okay, so these are called as a constraint. These are called as constraint. See, what is the relationship between them? You know what are the entities, you know attributes, and you know constraint. Then what are the relationship? What exactly the relationship? Now assume that college is one entity. College is one entity, and here library is another entity. See here now, it is a library. It is a library and it is a college. It's a college. College and library are two entities. What are the attributes of this college? Every college will be having the ID, every college will be having the name, and every college will be having the start date. Okay, then courses it is running, etc. Okay, then library is also having the library, name for the library, and library will be having the ID and the number of books it is having. Okay, the number of other things, start of the library, etc. These are the attributes of the library. Then how the college and the library are related? How the college and the library are related? See here now, this is, it should be rhombus. Okay, now has, every college has library. Okay, the college has a library. See here now, this is called as a relationship. Has is a relationship. College has library. If you are having a student entity, okay, then student and the college, how they are related? Okay, there is a relationship called as admitted. Okay, student admitted to college, student or enrolled to college. How the student and library are related? Okay, student library borrows. Example, if you take a relationship, borrows. Okay, student borrows books from the library. See here now, how these things are related. These are called as borrows, then admitted, has. All these things are called as a relationship. These are called as relationship. Got it? Now, this relationship describes an association among the entities. How they are associated? College, how the college and the libraries are associated. Every college will be having library. Hence, college has a library. How the student and college are associated. Every student must have enrolled or must admitted to college, or college has a student or student studying in college. See, this is the relationship name. Now, there are different types of relationship: one to many to many, and one to one. See here now, assume that one college, one college is having three libraries. One library is there at college campus, another same college is having the another library at girls hostel, another library at a boys hostel. Then there are three libraries. Hence, see, this is college is one. There are three libraries. So it is called as, it can be three or it can be more than one. So this is called as 1:m. This is called as 1:m. Got it? Now, what is m:(n)? M:(n) means, see here now, student borrows books from the library. M number of students borrows n number of books. If there are 8 students in our department, 8 students borrows the books or they have taken the books from the library. How many books they have taken? Assume that each of you have taken 5 books. 5 into 8, there are 40 books. There are 40 books you have taken. Okay, how many students? 8 students. See, this is m:(n) or n:(n). Got it? So this is called as this m:(n). Many to many. It is called as many to many relationship. This is called as 1:m relationship. Then 1:1. What is 1:1? See, each student, if you are a student, you must have admitted to only one college. The same student must be studying in only one college. You cannot taken the admission in more than one college. Got it? So this is what? So one student, one college. But say college will be having such n number of students. Okay, again, best example for 1:1 is, if I tell student and university seat number. Okay, each student must have a single university seat number. Okay, each student should have a single university seat number, 1 to 1. Same university seat number cannot be given to 2 students. Okay, or same student, more than 2 students will not be having the same university seat number. So it should be 1 student, 1 university seat.